am Zoya Naskova. Welcome to the Balkan Beat. I'll be your host for this informative series of shows about this very important region. The Balkans have gotten a great deal of coverage in the U.S. media during the last couple of years. It's been mostly negative coverage, stereotyping and demonizing the peoples of the Balkans. We've seen lots of gore and guts, but have not been shown the whole picture. The people of the Balkan countries are not all wild-eyed fanatics. The purpose of our show is to explore the issues and cultures of the peoples of the Balkan Peninsula and to present the audiences with information they can't normally get from the mainstream media. Until the outbreak of war in Slovenia and Croatia in 1991, very few Americans were sure of exactly where the Balkan was. Now, with daily updates from Sarajevo, Belgrade, and Zagreb, there is, I assume, little need for a geography lesson. With the advent of sending American troops to the Republic of Macedonia, the public should be introduced to a whole new region. It is this land of Macedonia that we will concern ourselves with for our first series of shows. The French have a word, Macedonian, pardon my French, to describe a fruit and vegetable salad, a mixture of a wide variety of ingredients. The name is appropriate since Macedonia has always been inhabited by a wide range of cultures and peoples. Illyrians, Bulgars, Serbs, Slavs, Thracians, Gypsies, Greeks, Albanians, Turks have joined the native Macedonians to make a hodgepodge that takes in parts of 5 countries. This resulted from the fact that Macedonia was the crossroads between Europe and Asia. Most travel routes for 3,000 years passed through Macedonia. Some of the travelers stayed. Of course, many of the travelers that stayed were conquerors on their way to somewhere else. Macedonia has been under occupation most of its recent history. After 5 centuries under the Ottoman Empire, in 1913, Macedonia was divided among its neighbors, Greece, Bulgaria, and then the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. And it still is divided today. After the Second World War, the Autonomous Republic of Macedonia was established on the territory of Vardar, that is, northern Macedonia, as a member of the Yugoslav Federation. As the dismembering of Yugoslavia had begun in a national referendum on the 8th of September 1991, more than 90% of Macedonians voted for independence. Somehow, the withdrawal of the Yugoslav army from Macedonia was negotiated, and they left Macedonia carrying away everything they could lay their hands on. But armed conflict was avoided. As a matter of fact, Macedonia is the only former Yugoslav state which has not been involved in the wars raging on the territories of the former Yugoslavia. Furthermore, Macedonia's constitution guarantees equal rights to all minorities, including Serbs and Muslims. Nevertheless, the Republic of Macedonia has had its international recognition delayed, apparently by a veto from Greece, a member of the European Community and a powerful United States lobby. The Greek government's position is that the name Macedonia belongs exclusively to the Greeks. This is a rather odd position for them to take for more than a few reasons. First, no country has the right to dictate to another sovereign country what to call itself. Second, Greece had outlawed the Macedonian language, Macedonian names, the teaching of local history, and denied the very existence of the word Macedonia as a part of Greece up until 1988. Then, in 1989, the Greek government reinstated the name Macedonia and decided that Macedonian history is really Greek history after years of trying to distance Greece from anything Macedonian. It is a situation that most of the international diplomatic community consider not only absurd, but profoundly embarrassing. The president of Macedonia, Kiro Gligorov, expresses the Macedonian position in the following insert.
I was happy when I could give Mr. Hines, when he was here, 3 volumes of documents in connection to the history and struggle of our people for the last 150 years. I also gave him 3 volumes of English documents from the British archives about the struggle of our people for the last 150 years. How could one have such short memory of the history in those key European centers in which the struggle of the Macedonian people was very well known? This struggle isn't just from yesterday, nor from 1941, nor from 1945. No one has ever managed to create an artificial nation on just a whim. The right of self-determination of a people to their own national identity and name and their own human dignity are basic, inalienable human rights. Nobody can deny that. There remains the problem with Greece as a neighbor. But I must say right away that we are prepared for full cooperation, to sit down like neighbors and to come to an agreement and find solutions for what are, in my opinion, if you leave emotions aside, non-existent problems among us in Greece in regards to good neighborly relations, friendship, etc. In this kind of atmosphere, all the problems that have accumulated from the past can step by step be resolved so we can open the borders. That's our future. I would like to express to all of you today our friendly feelings. I know they are yours too, towards the Greek people. In spite of all misunderstandings, those feelings cannot and must not be muddied.
On the 8th of April, 1993, Macedonia was admitted into the United Nations under a temporary name, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, with pending negotiations on the permanent name of the country. On top of this, they were not allowed to have the traditional flag-raising ceremony upon acceptance. This is an unprecedented case. Nothing like this has ever happened in the history of the United Nations. This kind of attitude by the world community is hardly helping a peaceful young country establish democracy and get its economy out of the doldrums it is in. Here is what a few Macedonian Americans think about the independence and the name of their homeland.
Macedonia, there's no question about it.
The name is a historical category for the Macedonians. They've gotten the name by the territory of the people decided the issue of the name and the intentions of the European community trying to change the name. All of Parliament voted in favor of a resolution which clearly states that Macedonia will remain Macedonia regardless of whether it is recognized now or later. So definitely the Macedonian thing. The question of the name is off the table. That's out of the question.
What do you think about the ultimatum that EC and the United States and Greece have put upon Macedonia?
I really don't have the words to express all my feelings about this issue, because suddenly I hear something that it was unexpected, that somebody today, in this time, could raise such a question, or to ask a nation to change their name. It's something that I could imagine that could happen 300, 400, 500 years ago, but not today. Especially when this name doesn't affect anybody, doesn't take anybody's property. It's just the name of a nation. It is no aggression in this name. It's just a wish of a nation to call themselves like they used to call themselves for ages. And it describes a nation which wants to collaborate with all its neighbors, with the Greeks, with the Bulgars, with the Albanians, with the Serbs. We just follow the sentence, make business not war. And I think we have proved it in these last 2 years. Do you think we should change the name Macedonia?
Oh, no way. I got some documents.
Since the acceptance into the United Nations, many EC countries have recognized Macedonia under the temporary name, such as Great Britain, Germany, Holland, Austria, Belgium, etc. Russia, Bulgaria, Turkey, Latvia, Croatia, Slovenia, and a few others had recognized the Republic of Macedonia from the outset. The United States still refuses to officially recognize Macedonia as an independent state. Presumably, this lack of recognition is mostly due to the rich Greek lobby in the United States. Or maybe there are some aspects of the greater scheme of things we are not quite aware of. Now, the United States has sent troops to Macedonia to protect the borders of a country that doesn't officially exist according to the United States government. Without international recognition, Macedonia is not eligible for any financial aid and has enormous hurdles to jump when trying to trade with the world. On the other hand, the embargo imposed on Yugoslavia and the war in the region has denied Macedonia's access to their main trading partners. It is almost impossible to privatize and develop free markets when you can't trade and get production essentials, like oil. Faced with this horrendous situation, Macedonians from all over the world congregated in Skopje, the capital of Macedonia, in August 1992 for the first Macedonian World Congress. Because of political and ethnic repression or economic depression, Macedonians have frequently emigrated to other countries. As a result, there are more Macedonians outside of the Republic of Macedonia than there are within its borders. At the Congress, there were Macedonians from the United States, Canada, Australia, Great Britain, Germany, Sweden, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Albania, Bulgaria, and France. Before the conference, all the delegates visited the tomb of the legendary Macedonian revolutionary and fighter for independence, Goce Delchev. His remains lay in a tomb in the church Saint Saviour in Skopje. Flowers were laid beside the tomb of the humble schoolteacher who died a great hero in 1903 when he gave his life for the independence of Macedonia. The four major themes that the Congress wished to address were economic development, communications, the creation of a permanent World Macedonian Congress, and the international recognition of Macedonia. Dr. Cento Veljanovski spoke on the transition of the Macedonian economy from a market socialist one to a free market economy. Dr. Jan Emiljovski spoke on the economic difficulties facing the Republic of Macedonia. He pointed out that the tragic intertwining of political and economic problems exists in Macedonia and manifests itself in the fact that there is to be no monetary assistance until after recognition. Mr. Aco Talevski of the Australian Macedonian Society made a presentation to the Congress on the Australian initiative to fund and set up a communications center in Brussels, Belgium, by September 1992. This has been accomplished, and the Macedonian Information and Liaison Service is presently supplying Macedonian news and information to media sources around the world. The possibility of setting up a branch communications office in London, England, in order to more effectively reach world media organizations that have their bureaus in London, such as Reuters, CNN, etc., was also discussed. After 3 days of spirited discussion, the delegates drafted a resolution in which they committed to assisting Macedonia so that it may receive world recognition and enjoy all the rights of any sovereign and free people, as well as ensuring its future economic stability and prosperity. The delegates also vowed to preserve the Macedonian history, culture, and language for the sake of future generations and bring to the appropriate forms violations of human rights of Macedonians in neighboring countries. In North America, there are about 500,000 Macedonian Americans, mostly concentrated in Canada and the Great Lakes area of the United States. In California, there are about 5,000 Macedonian Americans. The St. Mary's Orthodox Church in Whittier, California, is the only Macedonian Orthodox church on the West Coast. It is where Macedonian Americans from the Los Angeles area gather and continue to nourish their cultural traditions. Aside from religious services, they organize dances and festivals where everyone is invited to dance an oro and share great homemade Macedonian food. The local folk dance group performs in festivals nationwide and won second place at the 1992 Macedonian National Convention.
Good welcome.
We will close the show with some scenes from Ohrid, a historic town on the southwest corner of the Republic of Macedonia. Lake Ohrid is considered the last pristine lake in Europe. 3-million-year-old life forms share Lake Ohrid with a breed of trout that is famous for its unique flavor. Ohrid is one of Europe's best-kept tourist secrets. I hope you enjoyed the show and found it informative. Goodbye until next time.